Hello guys, welcome back, and in this video I want to continue, and particularly in this video I want to show you again how to pass data through inline components. All right, we have seen generally how to pass data through the routes, but now I want to show you how you can be able to pass data through components, and that is through inline option. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a small component here for the sake of showing you this, and then I'm going to delete that component. So let's call this component maybe, let's call this component test, because I'm going to delete it straight away. So like this, then I'll go to the code here. I have my component here, which is test. Then if I scroll down to the view, inside the resources, the view, LiveWire, we have test here. So I want to call test inside the, let us say I'm going to call it inside the list task just for the sake of testing. So if you can remember, I showed you guys how to call inline component. Yeah, and when you are starting this component thing. So going inside here, let me just scroll like this. So inside here, I'm going to say LiveWire, and then I'm going to say I need to pass the name of the folder, and the name of the our guy is test. All right, and so to pass data to this test component, if you are just passing static data, let us say maybe I want to pass maybe a static name by the name, let us say description. So I can just say description like this in quote, and then I can just say this is equal to maybe is a to do list. All right, I think this should be double quotes, and then now to accept this data, you'll go inside the test class here component, and if you can remember, the same way we use the public mount to accept data from from the route, is the same way we'll use this guy to accept that data, right? So in our case here, we're going to accept a guy by the name description. All right, and this description we are going to assign to maybe an internal description uh, property here. So I'm going to say public description like this. I'm going to say here that our guy description, this description should be equal to the description that has been passed here. All right, and now we can comfortably use now the description inside our test guy here. So here I can just have let us say a paragraph for now, and just echo the description there, for example. Yeah, all right. So what I've done here is very simple, very basic. Inside the list task, I'm calling the to do component. I'm passing this description, and inside the test component, I'm passing this description thing here. And inside the test class, I'm getting it from the mount function, passing it to the description property, and then using it on the description. So let us try and refresh this and see if this will throw any error. So I'll just say list task refresh. I expect to see the description down on this list task. All right, tasks. All right, I do not see the description, and the reason is because I did a silly mistake here. If I go to the documentation, I'm not supposed to put quotation there. So let's go back and rectify that. All right, so I don't need to do this, and I don't need to do this. All right, I think that is why this thing was screaming here. So let us try to do a refresh here again, and now we have our description here. This is a to-do list. All right, and so that is how you pass static data. And let us say if I want to pass dynamic data, and then I need to use this full colon here, and then the dynamic data will go here. All right, and I'll need to pass using this dollar sign here like this. So in our case here, I'm going to move this to the edit. I believe the edit to do here will do fine. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if I pass this thing right here, Currently, I do not have any way to loop through this data dynamically and return the ID. So that is something else. But for now, we just want to show you. So on the edit, if you remember on the edit to do, we have this dynamic data that is being passed from the list task here. So on the edit, I can be able to comfortably get this ID from the class. All right. So I'm passing this data dynamically to the to do and expect it to maybe show me this data dynamically. All right. So if I go, let me actually just add some description here and say this is the ID so that you can see this change. And then let me just save all here. So I'll go back here to list task. I'll do a refresh here. All right. And then now I'll click this. You see, it takes me to the edit and say this is the ID one. If I go back and then I click this, it takes me to the edit and say this is the ID2. So it means this data is being passed dynamically to this to do test here. And so that is how, guys, you pass data through the route or through inline components, whether static data, whether bounded route parameters, or even dynamic data. So with that, guys, I believe this brings us to an end with this lesson of passing data through components. In the next lesson, we are going to look at how now to work with properties, how to bind properties to inputs, and how now to enjoy and see the full power of LiveWire. With that, goodbye, and let us meet in the next lesson.